Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. We're going to give it a few more seconds so we can let everyone sign in, and then we'll start.
Hello, everyone. This session is going to be recorded, and it also has the feature of interpreting into Spanish. If you would like to listen to this session into Spanish, go to the bottom of your screen and select the language of your preference. We will also have ASL language for those who need it. Buenas tardes a todos. Esta reunión será grabada. Si usted requiere de la interpretación al español, hasta abajo de su pantalla podrá seleccionar el idioma de su preferencia. También estaremos proporcionando el servicio de interpretación en lenguaje de señas en inglés. Gracias.
And I think this was my turn, or now it's my turn to start our presentation. We have our parent university of Albert Einstein with the topic of German support. And just before we start our session, I want to welcome you and some norms that we actually learned at a teacher professional development. One that I thought was very interesting and very helpful for myself is try everything on that I'm talking about today, and then keep the ideas that you like, but leave the ones that you don't like behind. Just be open-minded and see if it works for you and your family and your child. But if you think, no, that doesn't work, then it is okay if you don't say, I love it. The other thing, have a pen and paper ready. We're doing a little exercise in the beginning where we will write, and then you will get the slideshow after our meeting, but there might be some things that you just want to jot down. And I can see with my students, it's always helpful to have a little paper next to them, to doodle a little bit, write some words down that they hear just to keep them engaged. And this is a webinar, so I do not see you, and I cannot tell by your body language if you're engaged or not. But that said, it would, yeah, if you want to take some notes while we are doing this presentation, I think that might be helpful. For our agenda today, we will do a quick introduction. Then I will talk about German support in general. Then I asked my colleagues for some grade level specific tips. So we will go through what the different grade levels suggest for you to do at home. We will go through the German resource page, and then in the end, we will have some questions and answers. And I do see on the attendees list that we have parents from all the different grades. I don't know everybody, but I do see a lot of names that are familiar. So I know that there will be something that will fit for you and your child or your children's needs. I am Frau Goldman, and I was born in Baden-Baden in Germany. I'm a third grade German immersion teacher, and this is my 11th year at Albert Einstein. I taught first grade for a long time, and now I'm teaching third grade. And this is also my second year as an AEA parent, and just having this perspective from the teacher side and from the parent side is very helpful for me, both as a teacher and as a parent. It's very interesting for me to see how kindergarten did things last year, how first grade is doing things this year, and then I know what I'm doing in third grade. So I hope that I'll be able to give you a well-rounded session tonight. The workshop that I was talking earlier that we had was introduced by doing a mood wheel. And this is something that I would like for you to do right now. If you have a piece of paper and you can put a circle on there and make fourths out of the circle. And just before we start a presentation like that or a meeting like that, where we might sit for an hour, how is your mood? How do you feel like? For this activity, we will use adjectives. And as a language learner, the importance of grammar is very important. So this is something I would do with my kids. Find 4 adjectives. Be honest. They don't have to be positive. They don't have to be all negative. But try to find 4 adjectives, 4 describing words for your mood right now. And I'll give you quick. And if you only get 2, that's fine. If you get 3, that's wonderful. If you only get 1, that's okay too. But I'm looking for 4 adjectives. Maybe you notice I highlighted the adjectives in green. This is something that we do at Einstein. These parts of speech, we try to give them certain colors, and the colors are continuously used. That should help the students see the meaning of those words. I am not going to make you share your mood wheel, but I will share mine. And the 4 adjectives, the 4 describing words that I picked were cold, excited, nervous, and happy. These days, I'm always cold and in need of a blanket in my office, which is actually my bedroom. I am a little cold, but yeah, I have my scarf, my shawl, so feeling okay. I'm always a little nervous too with those presentations that the technology works and that I can bring the content across that I want. So nervous, nervös is my second adjective. As my third one, I put excited, aufgeregt. I'm excited because I have a good feeling that you will walk away with something that will work for your family and will help your student during this also special distance learning time. And then my 4th one is happy, glücklich. I'm happy that I can share with you about German and maybe a little bit about Germany, since it always brings me a little bit closer to home, especially right now where I was not able to travel to Germany over the break. One thing why I like this activity, our presenter that we listened to said, once you name it, you can tame it. And I know that especially during the distance learning with the German on top of it, yeah, it can get frustrated for the students at home, for the families at home. But once you can name it, once I know I'm cold, well, I can get and put on my scarf. Once I know I'm nervous, maybe I do some breathing exercises and feel a little less nervous. And once I have the jiggles and I'm excited, maybe I can go back and think, what did I learn in kindergarten and in 1st grade with my zones of to calm myself down. But then what do I want to focus on? Well, maybe I am going to focus on being happy, being glücklich, and put this presentation under a positive spin. So hopefully this will carry me through our time together. So what we just did, we talked a little bit about grammar. We heard some German pronunciation, some German words, but we also worked a little bit on our social emotional feeling. So this was just to get us started. Next on the agenda is the German support in general. If you have specific questions on or answers that come up during our presentation, there is a Q&A button and you can type those questions on there. If we're able to answer them, we will do that simultaneously. If not, we might have time for them in the end. And if we can't answer the questions, then we will get back to you. You can also email me. My email is here. And we will try to get to as many questions as possible. And yeah, feel free to put them in the Q&A if there's something that you want more information about, or if yeah, you need some more specifics on what I'm talking about. So German support in general. Exposure to German is the A und O. That's a German idiom. A und O, the Alpha and Omega, the Anfang und das Ende. And usually I would tell that to my students or to my families, and it's like, exposure to German. Watch YouTube, watch some videos, find some TV shows. We are on the computer so much, I really have a hard time telling you to watch some more YouTube and spend more time on the computer. So this is a little tricky these days. The other thing I'm always recommending is have play dates with a German family. But again, we are trying to be safe and not get together. So this is another tricky one where, yeah, I can't really recommend for you to do my go-to tips. But there are some general tips that I will share with you. And then we will also talk about reading in German. I also got a parent tip from a fellow teacher that I will share with you. And I want to make sure, and I even right now already want to highlight that this is a parent tip and not a tip necessarily for the students. As general tips is family commitment. I put down language learning software. My husband, who is from California, he's been Duolingo and he's very proud of his, 400-day streak. So Duolingo is something that has been somewhat helpful for him. Not everybody might like Duolingo. There's other language learning softwares, but seeing your child or having your child see that you are committed to the German language is a very important topic. Maybe if he or she is even better than you with something and he or she can teach you, this is something that really boosts their motivation and their confidence. So just seeing that everybody's in the same boat, everybody's learning the language, that might be something that is helpful for your family. For home support, studying and reviewing the vocabulary words every day. We will go over that a little later, but yeah, vocabulary, building the basic vocabulary with flashcards, with labeling the home. These are some things that are, again, showing that the family, everybody is committed to the language learning and that it's present, that it's in your house. Going along with daily routine phrases as a family. Maybe your family could start the morning by, greeting each other in German, doing breakfast, having some phrases that go with your family life. And again, it's just like makes the German more present into your house. We will look at German phonics. German, like having a first grader that has been learning to read. Reading in English is way more difficult than reading in German. Once you have the German phonics down, you are in a pretty good spot, but you need to learn those German phonics. But then what you see is what you get. So once you have the phonics down, then it's really the decoding, the putting it together that is in comparison to English reading much easier. But daily reading is one thing that all our teachers said, this is a given, like trying. It can be simple sentences, it can be simple books, but just trying and having this as part of the daily routine. One thing I will share in a little bit is encourage children to read in syllables. This is helpful for English, it helps with the fluency, but especially in German, having these syllables color-coded helps so much with the fluency and really drives along the reading and encourages the child to read more fluently and helps with the comprehension. There is in our library there are a lot of resources for German materials that have these color-coded materials. So this is definitely something that I'm encouraging to have your child or you look into. My favorite one, once the child is a little older, is reading German book alongside the English book. So my daughter's into the Magic Tree House. We have them all in English. Magic Tree House is a series that you have in German. So if he or she has read the Magic Tree House and in English and understands everything and know what's happening, then you can pick up the English book. And yeah, you might not understand every single vocabulary word. I actually can promise they won't. But since they already know what's happening, it's making it easier to follow along. So once they are into the reading age, this is one of my favorites where they can really then get their reading or their love for reading carried over into the German. I put language exposure, again, I said earlier, YouTube, playdates, CDs, films, music, in the cars, if you have German music, that is something just that they hear it over and over again to get used to the German sounds, the German pronunciation, and to German sentence structure. Vocabulary learning was one of the topics that I had on there earlier. This is our 3rd grade choice board. I know 1st grade has a very similar one with just ideas that you can use to do your vocabulary learning. There is a video, it is 9 minutes long, so we're not going to watch it now, but once you have the slideshow, you'll have access to that video. In 3rd grade, we're using the Faltblatt. A lot of parents have issues with the pronunciation, but that's all good. What it means repeated writing. So having a routine, like on Mondays, I practice my words and I try it on my own and I check, did I do it right? Or what do I have to fix? On Tuesday, I do the same thing, same words. On Wednesday, I do the same thing. So this repeated writing, going over it over and over again, seeing what I can do on my own, going back and checking it, very important when you're learning a language. Flashcards, note cards. That my dad actually told me that when I was little, collect all the words that you're learning and put them into flashcards. I would have loved to do that and now have like this big stack of cards. I didn't, but this is something, and having the kids show you, look for Goldman, how many words I have, and they can actually see that stack grow. So note cards for language learning is showing them their growth. So another good strategy to use. Post-its, we talked about labeling the home, and if you can see on the picture there, the book has like a label of the book, the chair has a label of the chair, the phone has a label of the phone. So putting these sticky notes or these stickers with the names on around your house, that will help you too with the vocabulary learning. Vocabulary notebook, collecting new words that you hear, making them showing their interest, what they are interested, and putting it in their personal notebook. Using chalk for the little ones, having dictionary at home. I love having a book actually at a dictionary. There is all these online dictionaries that you can certainly use, but having a book where you can actually look and like go through and find new words. Using a word pyramid. This is something that we use in English. Why don't use it in German? Word art. Here's a tape dispenser. So these things you can do in any language, and the same with the cheerleader spelling, where they make movements to their words. So these are just some ideas that we have in 3rd grade. They are a combination of English and German ones. If you go into 1st grade, you will see something similar. If you have it only from your English teacher for your spelling words, use those choice boards from your English teacher and carry them over for your German. Just as some ideas, it works for any language. Looking a little closer into reading in German versus reading in English. As I said before, the decoding in English is much more difficult than in German. The problem that we have, or that we run into with the German, is the comprehension part. The students just don't have that vocabulary knowledge that they have in English. So being able to decode a word might not help with comprehension. Even if there's a picture of the word and you just don't know what it is, there is a misconnection. So this is why, since we're living in California, where we hear English mostly, it's really hard to compare the German with the English reading. Having, though, the motivation to do daily reading is very important. We do have a challenge with German materials. We get that a lot. In English, you have like the level R, the level S, the book 2, and so on, with all the phonics. We don't have that in German as such, because if you are in Germany and you know the sounds and you have the vocabulary knowledge, because German is your first language, you don't need that kind of support. So it is not comparable what we have as from materials from the English side with the materials from the German side. So this is where it's really hard for us teachers to provide materials in German. when you look into a book for a first grader, it starts very simple with like syllables, mao, mao, ti, pa, pa. And then when you go at the end of the school year, they're reading like full-blown texts. So it is really hard to duplicate the English with the German material. So we are trying as German teachers to do things that are similar, but it is not just like, oh, we can order it, or we have it like we can pull it up from somewhere. So this is definitely a challenge that we have with the German reading. AEA Library is a great resource though. What there is on the German market, we have in the AEA Library. Here is a reading list linked with different ideas for German books. And you see here, these ones on top, these are with the syllables, the color-coded syllables. Then you have the ones, the Mo Willems, for example, where the kids might know those books in English, and then they can read them in German, and then, oh yeah, now it makes sense. So watch out for announcements from Ms. Gollins. There was actually one today for the next library checkout, which is February 18th. She has a great resources there. She's very knowledgeable about what she has. So if you're interested, you can contact her and let her put some books aside for you. Because yeah, if it might be hard for German materials, not be comparable, all the ones that are out there, I would say have at the AEA Library. And I did put again, having the German and the English book side by side is a very powerful tool for reading in German. So I wanted to give you a little example of what I mean, why it does look maybe easier, or why it could be helpful to read in syllables. So here, this is a typical German sentence or German text. Heute ist Donnerstag. Es ist der 28. Januar. Das Wetter war heute etwas kalt, aber sonnig. Look at this word here, 28. Yeah, this seems a little overwhelming. So let's look at this slide. Here we have the syllables with the syllable Bögen. That's what we say in German. Heute ist Donnerstag. Es ist der 28. Januar. Das Wetter war heute etwas kalt, aber sonnig. I mean, yeah, that might have sounded a little staccato, but this 28. I think I have a feeling that this was less overwhelming than we had it in the slide before. Now look at this. If you see it with the different colors, yeah, can you feel how it's like carrying you along when you read it? Es ist der 28. Januar. Yeah, so this reading in syllables really just like moves you along, and it's not like, woo, there it is. You have these little pieces and you can put those together instead of being there with like a one long word and being lost before you even started. What's even more helpful is having little pictures with it. So heute ist Donnerstag. What could Donnerstag mean? Montag, Dienstag, Mittwoch, Donnerstag, Freitag, Samstag, Sonntag. Oh, okay. Yeah, Thursday, Donnerstag. Es ist der 28. Oh, 28. Januar. Das Wetter, you have a little symbol for the Wetter, war heute kalt und sonnig. I have a pretty good feeling that a lot of you understood what our text means. I did highlight these special sounds, the oi, the ch. Yeah, those are a couple. So there is some exceptions to the what you see is what you get, but mostly really, if you know those like, let's say 7, 8 German sounds that look a little different than they sound, you're pretty good to go. And with the help of the color coding, with the help of the pictures, it definitely seems less daunting than before. The tip I was talking before was the Google Translate camera feature. And I don't use it, but one of my colleagues said it's very helpful for her as an English speaker. So when you go to Google Translate, there's a camera feature, and you can take a picture of German instructions, and then you get the translation without having to retype it. This is for many languages. And she said it's not perfect, but it's close enough. So when these Canvas assignments or paper assignments, when you see those and you don't even know what to do, this would be a good feature for you as a parent to use to let your child know what he or she is supposed to do. I did highlight it is not for student work, and that's one of my things when I ask the students to turn in their homework, and I'm trying always to give them a sentence frame, use the sentence frame. It doesn't have to be perfect. Try the best you can. And then I see something is turned in and it has like the light gray, like highlighting. I know the student just typed it in English, put it into Google Translate, clicked German, copied and pasted it into the text box, and there it is. It might sound perfect, but that was an English work and not German work. And I really try to remind my students that it is wonderful that we are here and learning a second or a third or a fourth language. There's no expectation that we are perfect, but we have this privilege at Einstein to learn German. So we should show what we know. And if I just put it in Google Translate and copy and pasted it, sometimes I can't tell if they get rid of the highlighting. I can't tell that it was Google Translate, but just by reading it, I know it was not their work. So it's really, they know more, especially if there's like sentence frames provided. Use the ones. And if you only use the sentence frame and then put in the English word, that is better than just putting it into Google Translate. So this is one thing that, I really wanted to mention. We don't expect perfect, but we expect them to try their best. And that's why the Google Translate, it is great for parents, but encourage your child not to do their homework or their work with that feature. So this was support in general. And what I did for our next point is I emailed all the teachers at Albert Einstein, all the German teachers, and I asked them for grade level input. And they came up with a list for some things that the student must do, some things that would be helpful or that we suggest the student do, and then just some resources that work well for the specific grade level. With that said, I emailed my colleagues. I don't see them these days, so I emailed them. And I do want to emphasize that communicate with your teacher. Tell them what's going well. Tell them what doesn't work. Tell them what your child needs. We might not be, and we probably will not be, cannot be fulfilling to every single parent. We should, but not everybody is emailing. So we don't know. When we have the kids in the classroom, we see them and it's easier to gauge, but we really need your input. So communicate with your teacher. And let us know. I got some great feedback. It's like, we really don't understand. Can you do the lesson in German and in English? Well, now I record my lessons and I record a German lesson and then I record the lesson in German and English, and it works. And I might not be able to do that for every single lesson, but if I do it for a few lessons, these few lessons will be better understood by everybody or the ones that need it. So this came from a parent suggestion. So communicate with your teacher. Again, I can't promise everybody does what was suggested, but it is really a good step to let us teachers know what worked well. Positive feedback also goes a long way, because it is hard. Like, are the kids engaged? Like, maybe they are. Maybe then who did the homework? Like, was it a struggle? Did it take 2 hours or was it like 2-minute thing? So we need to know these things. And the more communication there is, the better we can gear to our students. One thing that we did in 3rd grade, we would say, oh, pick whatever fits best, you know, challenge yourself. But it's really hard for a 3rd grader to challenge himself or herself. So we came up with like a different idea how to group the kids and how to say, okay, you are doing this, you're doing this, but you are expected to do that. So this was, again, something that came from parent feedback and seems to work really well. So communicate with your teacher. That's what I want to get to. Well, when I communicated with kindergarten, they gave me for the must do, practice your letter sounds. And we've talked about that already. And then practice the letters with gestures. And I want to show you this video real quick. We're not going to look at the whole thing, but again, this is something that we really practice hard in kindergarten, 1st grade. So this is something that has been really helpful as a support for our students.
Guten Tag, Kinder. Hier am Bildschirm, am Computer seht ihr ein Bild. Und auf dem Bild sind Buchstaben. Das ist die Schreibtabelle ABC der Tiere. Der erste Buchstabe hier ist ein A. A wie Ameise. E. Elefant. I. Igel.
And we're not going to listen to the whole video. Again, you have access to that even if you're not in kindergarten. But the ABC der Tiere, this is the material that we've been using or starting to use in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd. Now we're in 3rd grade with it too. It has the color coding. You see the same symbols. So this is really something you should have seen if you've been at Einstein. So if you don't have that, this would be, again, something, you know, ask your teacher for, and your teacher can provide that for you to practice these sounds, because as we said before, once you know the sounds, then the reading comes so much easier. The other thing Kinder said or gave me was, and I think that's wonderful, the suggested practice German focus activities. So here they have a choice board with all different things that are helpful for kindergarten German. Tons of videos about colors, color games, the letters, the shapes. So this is something that kindergarten provides. And yeah, has a lot of materials that are helpful for your student. And once you have the slideshow, you can go through that. I'm not going to show you everything because, again, I don't know what do you need, what works for your child, but you have to try out what is helpful. There's not one fits all, but these are just options that you can use at home. And then here you can see linked some helpful resources. From 1st grade, again, we have practiced the letter sounds. There's some different activities, but you see that's like a common thread. Letter sounds very important. And then it starts here in 1st grade, practice your spelling words. Yeah, I know they have like 4 or 5 spelling words every couple of weeks. So this is something where you can build up your vocabulary. For suggested practice, they say listen to movies and songs and stories in German, Frau Claudia. Do your weekly Canvas assignments, and then the home resource button on Canvas. In 2nd grade, they are using Duolingo. So the tip from 2nd grade, or the must do from 2nd grade, was practice with Duolingo every day to maintain and to increase vocabulary. Again, practice the spelling words. And Frau Claudia, Canvas assignments, don't wait too long. And here they again tell us about the Duolingo and then the AEA German resource page. And this is something that came up now from 2nd grade up. I think every grade mentioned that. And we will look later at the German resource page with a ton of of information or resources. In 3rd grade, again, spelling words. We have a text, a German text that is helpful to read. It's read to you in German. You can read and have it and listen to it before. As suggested practice, we use Anton, and this is one of my, again, it's a parent suggestion, was suggested to me last year, and I've been playing around with it. We use it every week in 3rd grade this year, and this is really something that I think is very, very helpful. So for a 3rd grader, practicing daily on Anton, coming to your German group, and every grade has that set up a little differently, but in 3rd grade, attending your German group and having this interaction with me as a German teacher or with other students where you can share in German is really helpful for success. One thing that is handled a little differently throughout AEA during distance learning is the tutoring or the support. In 3rd grade, we have Frau Leitl as our support person, and we do not assign or send kids, or we give the option. And there's different levels that Frau Leitl supports. There is a book club, there's a conversation class, there is help with assignments. So this is really, really helpful to have this like small group interaction with the tutor. So depending on what grade you are in, and if your student was offered to go to support, take on the offer and go to the support. If your child wasn't offered the option, ask about it. This is where the communication part comes in. Ask, is there a spot? Can my child maybe go? And again, I can promise that there is a spot, but it's worth asking. If you're invested, if you think that might be helpful, then yeah, communicate with your teacher. As helpful resources, again, you see the AEA resource page that we will go over. 4th grade, they also say attend the German language Zooms. They have them on Mondays and Thursdays. Finish your weekly yo-yo heft and the Duolingo assignment. If you're in 4th grade and you don't know what your yo-yo heft is, again, ask your teacher and see what that is. They also have the Faltblatt for the vocabulary learning. And then they want German books and quizzes on Canvas. And they have 1 German book per unit. For suggested practice, we have reading, Antolin, which is a reading comprehension website that's on our German resource page too. And yeah, you see as helpful resource, go head over there. This is 5th grade, correct? Yes. They have as their must-dos the German movies and logo news, the Antolin, and they have really specific requirements for the Antolin quizzes. Again, if you're in 5th grade and you don't know your login information to Antolin, you need to ask them, because this is very important for them and their stage in their German where it goes on reading comprehension. So communicate with your teacher, ask your teacher. Suggested practice homework assignments on Canvas, and then for helpful resources, they have the logo news, Tiere bis unters Dach. This is also something that's going to be part of the resource, and then the Antolin as their reading comprehension passage. If you're in non-immersion, Frau Rei listed the 2 Canvas assignments, vocabulary words, Duolingo, Anton, and then again, the German resource page. And this email Frau Rei if you have questions about any of the logins. But again, we have the resource page listed here. For middle school, they said also the logo news. They are working on summaries for book pages, grammar assignment once a week, and then they have the paragraph essay writing every week. They also use Anton. They work with Goethe as a suggested practice, Goethe Institute, And then here, some more resources listed. We're not going through all of that. If you are in middle school, once you have the website, you can go and see that. And again, if you have questions, either email me or either you email your teacher if there's some specifics that you want to or you should pay attention to. Our German resource page, we saw that was listed by a lot of teachers because that just has such a wealth of resources. I have it linked here. A lot of the German teachers have that resource page linked in their email signatures. So if you don't have that link, you really need to get that link. I'm clicking on it here. And you see there's different sections. And I did pick a few. We'll look at 3 of the sections afterward, because again, there's so much on here that we can't go through everything. And again, I'm not sure what everybody is interested in, but yeah, we have like one section with play. There's different games for kids. Some of the things are only in German. But a lot of things are really language learning things. You have to figure out what is good for your child. Maybe your child likes memory kind games. Maybe your child doesn't. Then I wouldn't try that one out. Maybe your child really enjoys sitting and watching something. Maybe your child like really needs to get moving and needs to dance to songs. So it's really, there's not one fits all. You really have to see what your child might enjoy. Does your child enjoy learning about animals? Well, then maybe even if he or she doesn't understand everything that's said here, just exposing him or her to these animal videos would be fun. If your child is scared of animals, don't watch that. You see, it really depends what works for you. There is a play section with games. There is a watch section. Logo was one that we heard earlier that some of the grades really like. Kika has great things. We will look at the Deutsch mit Soccer, Annas und Pias Tiere. So here's a lot of different things that kids can explore. If they're into the watching. Here we have the read and listen tab. Story Weaver has stories in many languages. You can watch German books in world languages. Unite for Literacy. There's video tutorials here too. So if you want to check that out, you can find how to do it in these tutorials. Then we have Frau Ute with a lot of read alouds. These are the ones that are easy reader series, audible books from the library, Frau Reimer's reading books. So there's a wealth of, if you say you don't have German books at home, here are online versions where the kids can listen or read along or read by themselves. Then we have different apps listed. And again, here's Duolingo, here's the Grundschul app, here's the Anton app we will talk about in a little bit, and the Translate that we talked about earlier. So yeah, you find all these informations on the German page. And I see, okay, perfect. Somebody says, what site is this? And this is called the AEA German resource page. And it is linked to a lot of teachers' signature in the email. When you get an email from your teacher and you scroll down to the bottom, a lot of the German teachers have the AEA German resources on there. It is linked here to that website. So here, I can put it. Can I answer? I can't answer right now, but this will be linked to the slideshow. So then you will have access. Yeah, you really should have this bookmarked or easy access to this page. And then play around with it. Look at it with your child. Find what he or she is interested in. But you will find something that keeps them occupied and interacted with German. I did pick 3 highlights from the resource page, and one is Anton. And I think there is videos linked. It is a free app. You do not need a school account or a class account. We do have groups in 3rd grade where I, as a teacher, can assign, but even if your teacher in another grade doesn't offer that, I would really recommend for you to go onto Anton and set it up. There's a login video linked here, how to work it. And I'll just want to show you how it works, what you can do. So this would be my account. Again, it's free. It is a little tricky when you set it up because your password is, it's like this code. So don't get frustrated with the code, but try it out. There is different settings, which when you probably started, you will be in the English setting. And here. And this is the great thing. You can switch it however you want. They now have French and Spanish too. But let's pretend I set my Anton account up and I'm in the English setting. What I get from Anton is different subjects, and this is language arts. So this would be all English, 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 but then they have German level 1 and German level 2. So these would be German as a foreign language. So if you want to go in, you can learn about Farben, colors, and then
Rot,
did you hear?
Grün,
They say it to
Blau,
you.
Gelb, Blau, Grün, Gelb, Rot, Grün,
You get the
Blau.
idea. You see, you hear.
Gelb, Rot, Blau, Grün, Rot, Gelb.
Repetition, practicing. So now you heard them. So now you read them in the next step. Then the next step is hearing again. Then you write them. Then there's a vocabulary game with it. Then you read them again. Then you hear them. So you see there's all these different steps to practice your colors, for example. So there's German 1 and there's German 2. And this is for German as a foreign language. So since we are at Albert Einstein, we might know a little more than somebody that goes to English public school. So what you can do, you can change your settings and you can say that you want to work in the German setting. And once you switch to the German setting, then everything you get is German school. So now as your subjects, you have German in 1st grade, you have German in 2nd grade, in 3rd grade, in 4th grade, and so on. You have German math in 1st grade. You have German math in 2nd grade. You have biology, that starts at 5th grade. You have Sachunterricht is social studies, geography. So you have that for 1st grade, for 3rd grade. And then you still have your German as a 2nd language. So these ones are here, the ones on the bottom. So now remember, this is for a student in Germany. So if your student is in 3rd grade, Albert Einstein, maybe German 1st or 2nd grade is what he or she needs. Yeah, because we are not in Germany. But if you come in here, German 1st grade, let's practice the letter F. So we can start.
Schreibe das.
So they want us to write, so you practice your fine motor skills. Yeah, so I mean, this would be definitely working for kindergarten or 1st grader. 2nd grader might have fun with this too. You can then, let's see what
In
this one.
welchem Wort hörst du den Laut?
So this means in what word do you hear the letter F? So after you've done that several days, several weeks, you know or your child will figure out what he or she needs to do if you don't understand. So in what word do you hear the letter F? Oma, no. Eimer, no. I don't know what that is, but this is Feder.
Feder.
So this would give you the point. So these are really great language games. And the only thing to remember is that if your child, is in 4th grade at Albert Einstein, 4th grade might be pretty hard, but you can always practice in 2nd and 3rd grade, or maybe in 1st grade. So this is what I think beauty of Anton. And yeah, they have writing, they have reading, there's reading in syllables, reading first words, reading first sentences. So this is really, yeah, lots to practice. And again, it is free. You do not need a school account. You can sign up privately. So I think this is a great resource to practice on your own time. And as I said, I have the videos how to sign up for it are linked here, and how you log in. And then I also have the video linked how you can change your settings. So if you start with English or Spanish, then you can use it for the English and German as a second language, but that might be, you might want a little more. So then you can change your setting for the language. And then it really gives you the resources or the material that a German student in Germany would use for their education. So this was Anton. Oops. The other one I wanted to show you is Amira. Amira is also free. It has books that are read to you. There's 3 different reading levels. You can pick a book. Let's pick this one. And it reads the book to
Rico
you.
ist mit seinem Schwimmverein jede Woche einmal im Hallenbad. Kann schon sehr gut schwimmen. Besonders gerne springt vom 3-Meter-Turm.
So if you don't want to listen to her, then you turn off the volume. And there might even be the option to do that. But yeah, this way, if you don't have German materials, here you have German books that are either read to you or that you can read. What they also have is these games.
Rico ist mit seinem Schwimmverein
These
jede
games
Woche einmal im Hallenbad.
that are connected to the book. So up here, if you don't go to lesen, you can go to spielen, and then you can find books. You can find games that are connected to the book that you were reading. So here, this is where you have to find. So you can find the book that you just read. It will pop up eventually. And then you click weiter, which means continue. And then you have an activity to the book that you just read or that was read to you. So this is another neat resource. Again, it's free and yeah, easy to use. What I have as my last highlight is Deutsch mit Soccer. And I know in kindergarten, they do that a lot. My daughter loved watching Deutsch mit Soccer and recreating her own Deutsch mit Soccer videos. And why I'm sharing this with you, it is so important that German is not the drag, oh my gosh, I have to do German, but that they are excited about it. And again, some kids find one thing exciting and others find another thing exciting. Those Deutsch mit Soccer are just an example to motivate your child with whatever he or she likes. But these are fun videos. I do show them to my 3rd graders. They still like them, most of them, some of them, but just as the idea that make it enjoyable, the German learning, and yeah, try to, I don't know why it's not coming. Try to make your child enjoy the German. And why? Oh, there you go. Okay, so let's just watch this one. It is all in German. It's pretty quick. And again, you or your child might not understand everything, but it's just like a little fun way to listen to it and to try to figure out what they are talking about. And yeah, just as I said, to have fun with the German.
Oh, hallo.
Hallo,
Wie heißt du?
wie heißt du?
Wie ich heiße?
Hm?
Ich heiße Esther. Und du?
Ich heiße Esther.
Du heißt auch Esther? So heiße ich auch. Mein Name ist Esther.
Mein Name ist Esther.
Das gibt's nicht. 2 Esthers. Esther 1 und Esther 2. Du heißt Esther? Wie heißt du?
Ich heiße Du.
Du heißt du?
Ich heiße Du.
Du heißt Dudu? Nein, nein, nein. Du heißt nicht Dudu und du heißt auch nicht Esther. Mein Name ist Esther und du heißt Martin?
Martin.
Heißt du vielleicht Stefan?
Stefan.
Heißt du vielleicht Peter?
Martin, Stefan, Peter.
Also heißt du Esther, Martin, Stefan, Peter?
Martin, Esther, Stefan, Peter.
Nein, nein, Esther, Martin, Stefan, Peter.
Du, Stefan, Peter, Esther, Martin.
Also ich heiße Esther und du heißt... Socke?
Socke?
Heißt du Socke?
Ja, ich heiße Socke.
Mein Name ist Esther und dein Name ist Socke.
So if we would have a more interactive workshop or session today, we would play the game. What is your name? My name is, and yeah, but since we don't have that, I just wanted to show you this little video as a reminder to make German fun and yeah, motivating for your child. So this is all I have for you. We have some time for questions and answers. You could put the questions in the Q&A on the Q&A button on the bottom. Again, if you have more specific questions, feel free to email me. There will be a feedback form popping up, I was told, and it would be wonderful if you could fill out that feedback form. It will also be sent through email. So either now or through email, we would really appreciate your feedback for our presentation. But yeah, we will be here. And yeah, if you want to put a question in the Q&A section, we will try to answer. Somebody said, thank you. Thank you for being here. I think that was a great turnout. Again, I hope that you found something that fit for you and your family and your child, and that you could take something, you're already home, so bring something and to your daily routine. So somebody asked, do you have workbooks recommendation to practice? So fourth grade is working with Yo-Yo, the Yo-Yo workbook. So this would be something that works for them. We are working in the lower grades with the ABC der Tiere. And we do have, yeah, I know first grade has it sent home. I believe kinder second, I know third grade has it sent home. So working with these workbooks, but they will be, the teachers will assign pages. So what we've done in third grade is we use our workbook, and then we know some of the things we don't cover. This could be something that you then do with your child. I don't have a specific workbook where I say, oh, you know, this is for you, but this is a good resource we might, or question we might want to look into if there is something specific for learning German. But anything, I would say, if you go on to the library or to a bookstore, or finding German beginning workbook, there's nothing like per se that I say, oh yeah, this works great. But yeah, depending on what your student enjoys, how old your student is, anything that you can use the German at home, I think would be great. So Jojo for 4th grade, ABC der Tiere for all the other grades going up to 4th. But then if you just want something general where you really basic German, anything will be good, will be helpful. But that's a good question. I will see if we have something where somebody really recommends a workbook. Thank you. And then I think we have a question how if we can see the recording. I think that will be on our YouTube channel for you to watch in both languages, Spanish and German. And then again, we will also give you the slideshow where you have all the links that I showed you or didn't show you for you to explore yourself. But thank you for the feedback. Oh yeah, good question. When do you teach German grammar? So I love grammar, so I always try to throw it in. We do, every grade does it in their own way. It's really hard for a 5-year-old to understand the concept of grammar, even for a 3rd grader. In 3rd grade, we did the language test and the kids are being asked about grammar, and just like the concept is like, grammar, what is grammar? So there's definitely in every grade that sometimes just by saying it over and over again, learning the songs from Frau Claudia, just like internalizing the grammar. In 2nd grade, they are starting with the conjugation where they're focusing on that. In 3rd grade, right now, we're doing the past tense. So this is definitely a big grammar topic. We're talking about indefinite and definite articles. So depending on the age of the child, it might not look like grammar per se, but it is part of language learning for sure. So I hope that answered the when do you teach grammar question somewhat. We had a question for the resource site again. So when you go to the AEA website, then you click on the student tab, and then the resource site link will pop up. And then also on your German teacher's signature, most of us have it on there. So if you email your teacher and you get an email back, then on the bottom, there's the site linked, but then also we have it on in that slideshow. But yeah, the AEA website, student tab, this is where you can find the resource link. We did have a question about conversational tutors, and we answered that question with, we don't have a list of private tutors, but we have a list of German after-school providers. With that said, I said it earlier, like for example, in 3rd grade, we have the tutoring that's open. And we really encourage you to have your child sign up. And then, as I said, if your child doesn't in a different grade, it might be handled differently in different grades, but inquire, ask. Is there a spot in the tutoring? Would that be something my child would benefit from? And yeah, if there is room, and that could be a good fit. Okay, so we have a question about grammatical or phonetic concepts. They're the same, different in English and German. Yeah. Yeah, so this is definitely learning at the same time. So this is what we see that, yeah, some when the kids learn how to read in English, and then they learn how to read in German, and then what they just learned in English, they forget in German, and so on. So I don't think we work with something specific. I can't see how that would be helpful. This is definitely something too where we have the 1 week focus in German and 1 week focus in English, where these conversations are helpful. Now that we have it at the same time, that might be more confusing. These are just the things that we are actually figuring out ourselves right now. I don't have a resource right now that shows the differences, like put side by side in English and German. But Sarah, I will get back to you and see if we can find something. I'm pretty sure that we have, there's a question about sound clips or MP3 for specific vocabulary, shapes, classroom commands, etc. Check out that Anton website. That is really, you have, colors, numbers. So that something that's already there. I'm almost want to say that kindergarten has something for classroom commands and shapes, but I will tell the kinder teachers that was a question, and I can see them jumping on board and recording something like that. That is a good idea. Thank you. And then we have a question in Spanish. So I think how to help a 7th grader. I think it's great that she asks for help. I think at that age, that's a big one. I would also recommend the Anton website, really basic vocabulary, practicing. And then for the assignments, this is where if she doesn't know what to do, using the Google Translate, communicating with your teacher. And topic specific, like depending on what topic they are studying, trying to, I think my Spanish is only a little bit there. So but I think the Anton website would be a good place to start, maybe starting with like 2nd grade and really reviewing the vocabulary. There's like the grammar practice activities. I think that would be a good place to start. And then trying to figure out what are the assignments, what are the problems, and then letting the teachers know what the problems are. Vocabulary, depending on what subject they are studying, focusing on those vocabulary words or topics. And I think consistent practice every day a little bit would be good for that. And maybe not even focusing on what are we studying right now, but really trying to build up the basics. Anton is free. There is certain functions that you don't get, but you don't need them. I've been working with my daughter. She's in 1st grade, and then even my preschooler, she loves to play around with it. You can earn little coins, and then when you have a certain amount of coins, you can play a game. So she really likes that. So it's free, and it's nothing nothing that you have to pay for. And again, the sign up, how to log in is listed. It's an app, but you can also do it on a desktop or a laptop and have all the activities. And yeah, when I'm going through the attendee list, I see different names on there, and I know there's different needs. That's why the website, the resource website, you have information for a German fluent speaker, you have information or resources for a German learner. This is why I really love the Anton, where you can practice when you have German as a foreign language, but also when you want to improve your German as a native speaker. And I think this is really a good place to work with. And then again, some people really like the Duolingo as a good resource, or other language learning apps. And for kindergarten who are learning German as a third language. So learning as a third language, me as a teacher, I always want to celebrate those students. It's so wonderful to have, on top of the English, and the German and the Spanish. So I think what we, concerning the reading, and a lot of you've probably already heard Mrs. Hall talk about the reading in the beginning years. It's really important that if you have, or whatever language is your home language, that you read in that language. So if it's your third language, the German, have your home language reading, practice that. Even if we don't teach it at Einstein, practice that and have that as like a good foundation. And then focus on the English, and then focus on the German. So celebrating and practicing the home language is really, really important and beneficial for all the other languages that your child is learning. Making connections. So how does it sound in French? Or how is the sentence correct in French? How do we say that in German? It might be different. And just like looking at making these connections between the different languages. I think this is something too where the brain just grows through these connections. So I would really put focus on your home language, and then celebrating the fact that you are having multiple languages and not only the German and the English. And then other than that, basic vocabulary, practicing the vocabulary, writing down the vocabulary in German. This is how it is. This is the word in, let's say, Russian, and this is the word in English. So really having all the languages that you have side by side, and making it like celebrating all the languages. Yes, so Anton, it's Anton period app, APP. So it is an app. You can use it on I have it on my phone. You can use it on the iPad, but it's also, you can also use it on your Chromebook or your desktop. It's the same, it's called Anton app, and then you can get it in the App Store on the phone or the iPad. if there are no more questions, I think we can close our session, close our webinar. Again, I want to thank you, everybody, for being here. I was happy to see all your names. I was a little sad not to be able to see your faces. But again, please email me if you have specific questions. And again, you can also leave the feedback on the feedback form. We really appreciate your insights, and yeah, we will use the feedback for future presentations. And the questions that came, I will send to my colleagues, and hopefully you will see some of the things that you inquired about. But thank you, everybody, for being here, and have a good night. Gute Nacht.